platform. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
I think we keep doing it. Hello,
So are
everyone coming in. Erin and I will get cracking here pretty soon. And yeah, fun stuff, really fun stuff. No, we're just talking about LinkedIn and you keep on talking about how new you are to it. But I mean, what is that?
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm figuring it out.
You get a pretty good idea of what you're doing in general, though. So I think I mean,
Well, I understand like content creation
mhm.
clearly, but it's just it's a different game and like the way you interact and stuff. It's just like learning the little nuances.
Gotcha. Yeah, awesome. I don't know where we can. I'm still. Let's just
How do
riff.
we see it?
Yeah,
Well, I
well,
mean, can you see if people have joined or
yeah.
commented?
I'm certain people have, but I can't
Oh,
see it.
hi guys.
I wish I could tell you.
I'm clearly don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, I'm a
It's all on you.
real experienced content creator. No, well, I think it's great because we're going to record this. It's going to live on for in
Yeah.
perpetuity, and it's really really good. And just happy to have you. Just letting folks know like little house clean stuff. I mean, I think we'll have you out. I was thinking maybe a half hour. We'll just riff about video and what have you, and your experience there, and giving for good. And oh, hey
Mhm.
Tom, what's up? Hey everybody, do us a favor. Do what Tom did and say hello and interact with each other. I think this is really really cool. This is only second LinkedIn
Yeah.
live that we've ever done, so it's really really fun for us to do this and to share. There's something interesting before we get into the nuts and bolts of it. There's a pattern that I'm noticing. We have the good fortune at HGA to meet folks like Erin and so many other folks that are guests on the pod or the webinar or LinkedIn Live and all this stuff. And I'm noticing something. It's not a trend because it's not going anywhere, but there's a pattern, and the
Mm.
pattern is how effective are you at telling your story?
Mm.
And you are a expert in video, right, in
Mhm.
telling your story through video and content creation and whatnot. But I mean,
Mhm.
we've talked to folks about telling your story with text, email,
Mhm. Mhm.
LinkedIn, the whole nine. And I just love that we can get really laser focused on things like video. And I think that
Mhm.
you could probably share some data about how effective video is, and
Mhm.
that's where all the attention is and all that good
Mhm.
stuff. So yeah, I'll quit rambling. Like I said, we have a very special guest, Erin Kienzle. Thank you so much. Giving for Good, and then also
Yeah.
a video coach,
Mhm.
video launchpad. Yes.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
our group class. We're doing it again in January, so
Okay,
I'm
cool,
excited for
cool. And
that.
then like throw some links in the chat if you want, or
I
we'll
don't
put it
know
in
where
the
the
comments. Yeah,
I don't know where the chat is, Trevor. I
we'll
don't
put
see
it we'll put it in the
the front
comments. We'll put it
stories.
in the comments on the LinkedIn Live. Once again,
Oh,
that'll
funny.
live on. You can share it on your page, all that good stuff. So we'll be
Perfect.
sure to add that. But yeah, just tickled that we got some folks that are queuing in, and hey, like I said, giving for good, but and video launchpad, and you're a video coach, and but you're also all these other things. And so what's
Mhm.
funny was I was prepping with some notes, and uh, you're a polymath, and I mean that in the most respectful way because you're.
Ah,
Uh, yes, I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you ever heard anyone describe you that way?
I have not. I'm intrigued
Yes.
though. It
Yeah,
seems to be.
you're a polymath. So obviously you're an entrepreneur. There's some you always have some curiosity about
Yeah.
certain things, and you want to, But I was just writing down, and the reason why I'm right is because yeah, you've had multiple businesses. You're a TV personality. You're a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
A mother, a wife. A consultant, and
Mhm.
you have a gift with video. So let's start talking about that if you don't mind, and tell folks how maybe I guess let's just how to get started with video. And you were just talking to me about a post you just did where you're just like, just do it. You know what I mean? You want to start there and just kind of,
Yeah.
it's like put the camera around or whatever, flip the
Mhm.
image around and just start
Mhm.
doing it and
Mhm.
tell your story, because that's what we're trying to impact as many
Right.
nonprofits as we can, and folks that are listening, even if you're in the for-profit world, just to take the plunge and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Video clearly is not going anywhere. It's here to
Yeah.
stay.
Yeah. True story.
And I've already, like I said, I'm new to LinkedIn. I'm just starting to post here and spend some more time. And I've already ruffled some feathers, if you will, because my content is not always like polished and professional.
Okay.
But I believe that, and I not just believe, like this is what's happening, is we're moving away from that to more casual and conversational
Yep.
because people crave connection. So that's what I teach. Like I can teach you to look good and have the lighting and the mic and all this stuff. That I have found is not necessarily going to move the needle for your business as the more conversational stuff that tells a good story and learns how to connect with people. And I think it's the same whether you're building a personal brand here on LinkedIn or, even for nonprofits, like we focus so hard. There's so many aspects of video that we can talk about today, but obviously like the video that plays that night in the gala, I'm a fundraising auctioneer, so that's important. But I think there's tremendous opportunity that nonprofits don't use on social leading up to that event of using video to reach donors, to reach people that can't be there that night and still connect with them. Like there's a lot of ways that you can engage folks.
What do you think slowing nonprofits down of realizing that, like, oh, I only got 4 views on the last one, or I don't have a paid staff, or do
I
you think
think it's
it's
time.
clear? Okay, it's time. Yeah, I got it.
Like I'm always surprised when I work with these like major organizations, their staff is so small. I mean, that's how it is across the board. Like I have the utmost respect for all of you in the nonprofit world because you do so much work on, a shoestring. I'm amazed every time what you can accomplish. So obviously like the social part, probably unless you have a dedicated person, is the last thing they're thinking about. So they don't have time. And then also they don't know what to post. I mean, that's what everybody says. What am I supposed to post?
And what should they post?
Well, I mean, I can talk hours and hours about that.
Yeah.
But if we're talking specifically about leading up to like a fundraising gala,
Yeah, yeah.
I think companies like you guys, you have great video content for
Thank
those
you.
live auction items or for
Thank
the
you.
silent auction items. So I think, why can't you tease that on your social channels? Like, here's your chance to bid on this trip to Mexico, and you post the video. So that would be what I call hi-fi content, which is polished and pretty, attention getting in your feed. And then you could have lo-fi content, which is the people that are accumulating raffle items and it's behind the scenes. We're like, guys, we've got like 50 things here. We're like trying to label everything and get them onboarded. Like, check it out. This is what we're doing. So that's lo-fi shot on your iPhone behind the scenes content that people love. Then there's the other video that's just like a call for help saying like, we really need your support more than ever. Even if you can't go to our event, here's the link to donate. It's been a rough year. Like, we need you. If you can't donate, share this post. It's just a simple ask that doesn't always happen on social.
Yeah, we've talked so much about video and what have you, and gotten into the weeds so much that we've like coached committees to engage with other supporters or sponsors, for instance, for a night of event like that. And we've actually said, just, hey, do a quick message. First off, let's get the missions marketing message down. You've already heard my spiel about that, about 10 words or less, and then just flip your phone around and do it, and then send it to all your contacts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, we need you. This is when the event, and like how impactful that is.
Right.
If you share that via text, if you share that on the site, if you share that on the social channels, it's like, it can be that simple. Also what I gather you saying, is like, it's the quality of the camera is not the most important piece, or the quality of your lighting, or and so give me some like real live examples of how that's worked for you with your brand, or with helping others with their brand, whether for profit or nonprofit. It's like, hey, this reel got 1 million views, and it was just me, in my bathroom or something like that.
It is Murphy's Law that like whatever you spend the least amount of time on and you think is stupid and you're like, I might not post it, like that's what's going to go viral.
Totally.
And then the stuff that you spend forever shooting, or let's say you pay someone to shoot and edit your stuff, you post that and it's not going to do anything. So from a social media perspective, it's all so fleeting. Like what you have here, because you're recording it, it's going to go on YouTube. It's more long form content. It's going to, have legs, a longer life, if you will. But social media content is short. So that's why I'm like, don't waste the time and money on perfecting it. Instead, just get it out there. And then you don't know until you get it out there what's going to work and what's going to resonate with your audience. And I've worked with 1,000 people, 1,000 students, and I'm telling you consistently, they are shocked at when we analyze the metrics, at what gets the most views. It's not them in a studio. It's not them, formal like this. It's them holding their iPhone in selfie mode, walking down the street, telling a story.
Right.
It's, the woman doing her makeup, giving you like a quick tip while she's getting ready in the morning. It's the woman in the car line waiting to pick up her kids, but talking about something. Like, they are all the lo-fi content that gets the most views.
You said consistently, and then it let me know if something, or just reminded me of something, or and I mean, how much do you preach this? I'm assuming that you do, about being consistent with that
Mhm.
messaging though, right? Like, it's obviously it's video. Okay, great.
Yeah.
It could be, done up. It could be the
Mhm.
great video, or the great camera setup and all that stuff. And you could flip the phone around in the selfie mode
Mhm.
and all that stuff. But talk about, once you do it, it's a
Mhm.
really bad practice to stop. You know what I mean? And how much
Yeah.
consistency plays a role,
You and
with
I have
growing.
talked about this before, and we're all guilty. Like, we get busy,
Yeah.
and I'll see it with my students. Like, my class is 5 weeks, so we're gung ho, and the analytics during those 5 weeks are like this, like a huge
Yeah.
spike in their views and engagement, because it's not that hard. They're posting,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they get busy and they stop posting, but people don't stick with it long enough. And I think there's almost like, well, I posted 10 times and I didn't go viral. I didn't get a lot. And I've posted 1,000 times. Like, it's
Mhm.
like anything. The more you post, the more you know what works, the more you understand what gets attention, the more you understand what types of posts get engagement. And you're not going to know until you test it. So I always say, like, remove yourself from the outcome. If you post something and it gets nothing, it's not you.
Don't ride
It's
that roller
just,
coaster.
yeah,
Yeah.
it could be like a bad day on the algorithm, but you're just a newbie to this. Like, you just have to figure out. So I never want anyone, I never want to say like you have to post every day, because I don't think that's realistic. I
Yeah.
tell my students, if you could post 2 videos a week, I would be happy with that. I mean,
Okay.
ideally more, but
Yeah.
like, let's be
Start with
realistic.
2.
If you can
Yeah.
get
Cool.
2 out a week, that's great. If
Okay.
you really want to grow quickly, then yes, at first you need to post every day, so you can
Okay.
figure out what's working. Then you go back, you look at your analytics, you say, like, this is what has been working. I'm going to lean into this type of content and try to replicate it. And then
Okay.
you get to a point where you kind of know how things are going to perform. And then maybe you don't need to post as much because there's burnout.
Cool. Cool. I like that. Well, I like how you put just like actionable metrics. Like, hey, if you don't know where to start with 2. Cool. And if you're really ready to get gung ho, let's do it every
Yeah.
day. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You're not
Great.
going to run like a record breaking mile by only
Yeah.
going for a jog 3 times.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same thing.
Totally.
You
No,
need to
no,
get the reps in.
no question. Rep huge. So we touched the consistency piece, and then something that we're always touching when it comes to telling a stories, like
Mhm,
or just me telling a story, pardon me, storytelling in general,
mhm,
especially for a nonprofit,
mhm,
brevity of message. How much does that
mhm.
play a role? I'm not asking you for the perfect equation, like your videos need to be 45 seconds or less. And I know
Right.
that it's contextual per platform,
Mhm.
but talk to me about brevity, or talk to the audience, pardon me, about brevity of message, how
Yeah.
important that is, if it isn't, what have you. It's just something we're always kind of just, it's a touch point for us.
Yeah, I think like increasingly our attention spans are getting shorter.
Mm.
So when it comes to brevity of message, like even on a gala stage, those first 3 seconds of your video, and let's talk about the big video before we go into the ask, the
Sure,
paddle
sure.
raise will make the most money. Those first 3 seconds are the most crucial,
Yes, gotcha. The
because
emotional,
you
like, hit
have
an
to
emotion quickly.
you
Yeah,
have to hook them in. So
yeah,
that's where I did a training recently and showed an example where they started with like this dog on the side of the road, and it was like, oh my gosh, but like that, it got your attention. Another one, it started in, they were raising money for diapers with the junior league. It started in black,
mhm,
and you could just hear baby crying.
mm,
And that was extremely, extremely powerful. So figure out within your story those first 3 seconds. And then
mhm.
as far as like timeline, I think 3 minutes is plenty. I come from
So
TV too, so I'm always going to lean towards shorter.
yeah, 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 yeah.
um,
And once again, contextual per platform, but you're talking about, like,
I'm
you're
talking about
asking,
video on a gala state,
yeah,
like
yeah,
at a
cool,
gala.
okay, yeah,
On
yeah,
social media, I mean, it's changed. It just depends where you are.
yeah,
Um, like on LinkedIn, it used to be like super short, or not LinkedIn, Instagram. We went
mhm,
through a whole phase where like 5 second reels were it. Like we were just
right,
doing 5 second reels all day.
mhm,
They were looping.
yeah,
Now we're doing like 30 seconds and a little bit longer are doing well. On
yeah,
LinkedIn, I haven't been here long enough, but I'm testing.
mhm,
Usually shorter reels tend to do better still, because it's all about watch time with the algorithm. If they watch your video from beginning to end, it will reward you by showing your video to more people.
got it, okay, so
So
shorter
if
would
you're
be
talking for
back on
2
that,
minutes, most people aren't going to watch the whole
they're not gonna,
thing.
yeah,
And if you're new to it, you don't know how to keep people engaged in a 2 minute video. There's editing tricks, there's different things that we do. So if you're new, I would stick to short just to try it out before you start to do the longer stuff.
totally, totally. There's something, I appreciate that. So there's something I have been thinking about when we're talking to different nonprofits that haven't taken the plunge, so to speak, or maybe there is someone on staff, for instance, that's tied up for time. That's a common theme, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And staffing and all that stuff. But you know, and they're not everyone knows an expert, right?
Mhm.
But there is someone in your sphere of influence, the committee, the board, that knows
Mhm.
someone that has a kid that's 19 that is just like a whiz. Like, do you
Mhm.
ever coach nonprofits to be like, hey, just grab that? Like, someone is willing to do this work. Like, they care about your mission. Like, I don't think nonprofits are collaborating in that way or thinking outside the box, so
Mhm.
to speak, very often.
Yeah.
I'm sure some do, but like, hey, I know someone. Oh, they care about our mission. Oh, they've been to our event. Maybe they don't give a lot of money, but they're great on social. So maybe
Mhm.
they can help us tell our story. Like, do you nudge and coach, nonprofits to think
I
outside the box?
haven't done that specifically, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's brilliant. Yeah. Lean
yeah.
into the gung ho younger person who's
I mean, yeah,
willing.
because it's just like it's not common for me, right? Like, or not common.
Yeah.
It's not natural. It wasn't natural for me because I'm 44 years old and I didn't
Mhm.
grow up with an iPhone. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
But like I've become with reps and consistency, I've become more
Yeah.
comfortable and listening to people like you and stuff like that. And just the
Yeah.
fact that we have a great team around us where it's like this is just a reality. We have to do it,
Mhm.
right? There's no really other option. We have to do this, right? If we're
Right.
going to grow this brand, this our mission and have our impact. But I just
Yeah.
like I just think that if you're right on the fence, so to speak, and you
Yeah.
need an encouragement or a nudge, it's a
Mhm.
very big world. There's probably a lot of people. Maybe you've done a great
Right.
enough job of telling your story. You probably know someone that knows someone. There's like 0 degrees of separation in this world these days, right?
100%. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
too, nonprofits sometimes like it's too much information,
mhm.
because we need to fund this and this and this and this and
We're a
this. Where
501(c)(3) and we have
on the
13
social media
members.
landscape, it's
Yeah,
like we need 100 diapers. Like it's just a
come on.
different way of presenting it and what I call bite-sized content. So
Okay.
that young person who's been, on TikTok all day, they get it.
Yeah. Yeah,
They know
totally.
how to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Bite-sized content. I think that's great.
Mhm.
It's like, "Hey, this is how much 100 diapers cost. This is how many people we're serving.
Yeah.
This is what it costs per diaper. This is
'Cause
what you can do."
otherwise you're overwhelmed and someone's not they feel like it's too much. But
Yeah.
especially, if you're scrolling and you're like, well, I could do that, or I could simply share this post. I could click the button to donate, whatever it is.
I love that. I wanna ask you because you said you've had 1,000 students, and now you're coaching
Mhm.
nonprofits and what have you, and
Mhm.
consulting and doing their events and what have you. Do you have any like feedback or experience, or do you tell folks, hey, embed that video in your email marketing message, or like stuff like that? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing's off limits, and the right way to because I'm there's a lot of we were having a lot of conversations about email marketing campaigns for
Mhm.
nonprofits and
Mhm.
how there's a lot of low hanging fruit if you're deliberate about it, if you're intentional, you're doing
Mhm.
it the right way, and you segment lists. I'm not going to get too scientific, but like, are
Mhm.
you nudging nonprofits, and then for your for
I
profit?
always, as the auctioneer, I always tell them, like, I never want those live auction items to be a surprise
No surprise.
that night,
No surprise.
right? So, like, especially again with companies like you have great video assets. Like, yes, let's please pre-market them on social, in email.
Right.
I personally find that it is more effective instead of saying, like, here are our 7 live auction items.
Mhm.
Like, you can do that. Maybe that's your first email, but as you're sequencing, I like when they just like highlight them one at a time. And
Cool.
then it's like a bite-sized
Bite-sized
portion.
content. Yeah,
Check
yeah,
it
yeah,
out. This
yeah.
great trip. And then you click it and you're not going to scroll all the way through 7 of them, but you're like, yeah, I want to go to Belize. Yeah, I want to do this. So I
Yeah,
feel like it has a higher open rate and is more effective when you do it that way.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, you're nudging folks to just go where there's some attention here in the email.
Mhm.
There's attention with the
Yeah.
text messaging when you're advertising the event. Just do it,
Yeah.
and you're very bullish on video, obviously.
I mean, I'm sure, like, I'm like, and do you have a videographer? Because we have one. And then we come up with like
Yeah,
tripods and lav mics. Like, we're a lot
yeah,
compared to most people. But
yeah, yeah.
I want to capture everything because even like that night, like leading up to it, we have to do all the marketing and the video. But then that night is the whole other piece. Like, you need that material to thank your donors so they can see that and share it later. But then you need it to market for the next year.
And you're almost like when you're doing it at an event, for instance. I know we've covered so many different topics, like wide lens and it getting more myopic now with like night of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, you're basically nudging your clients, the organizations that you have the opportunity to work with as their auctioneer and consultants and what have you. You're nudging them to document everything, basically, like a documentarian would, or like
Yeah.
a filmmaker would, right? So
Well,
you
so
can.
like for the auction, ideally we want to record it every time in case there's discrepancies. So, but that would just be like
Yeah,
iPhone in the back. But
yeah,
if they have it in their budget, like I would love for someone to come, or even like, back to your point of like a younger fresh
Someone
in
has a camera
college,
that you
whatever,
know.
a
Yeah, yeah,
content creator who
yeah,
can create a sizzle reel of the night and capture your guests and capture the whole vibe, because then you have that to share for next year. And I think people also make that mistake. They share it once and then it's done.
yeah.
You keep doing it. Like, post it. If your event's in October, post it again in January. We can't wait. Post, like, it's
Posted the day.
fleeting. People
Posted
probably
the
haven't
day
even seen
after.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
post it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I love the idea of a sizzle reel. I've been saying this a lot lately. The best time to sell something is right after you sold something.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so because we're
Mhm.
always, I've been having some really fascinating conversations. This is no different, but with folks that like are really, really approaching raising money from
Mhm.
from a for-profit lens. And I
Oh,
had
that's
a really
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, oh, I'm going to start a consultancy and this and that because I've been working with nonprofits for this long, or I've been in the
Yeah.
nonprofit space. I've been on that side of the desk,
Yeah.
and people are like, and I heard someone say, a friend, Michelle Benson's her name, she's super sweet. She's on LinkedIn, very easy to find. You should look her
I
up
need
for
to
sure.
find, yeah, I'll go friend. So you don't
She's
friend people on LinkedIn, you connect.
Yeah, she's
Learn that.
she's she's rad. Michelle's awesome, and I just love that take, right?
Yeah.
Outside the box,
Mhm.
and she's like, she called it business in the door, and I was
Mhm.
like, yes, and she was referring to donations, and
Yeah.
I said yes, and so it's like, like I said, you said the sizzle reel. It's like that happened last night. Post it tomorrow. Let people share it. Keep posting it throughout the year.
Yeah, like, that was a
Fun
great
ways.
night. If you didn't give a chance to give, here's the link.
Come
If you
on.
didn't give a chance to get that trip to
Oh.
Mexico, you can still buy it.
Oh, a little post-event marketing. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, there's just so much creativity, and just so much benefit and an impact, of course, obviously that can happen, if
Mhm.
you're just deliberate, right? Post-event,
Mhm.
and we're talking about using video to do that. Yeah, and if you get that many, you have we're talking about event fundraising, where I like how we're weaving this all together.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the night of. It's very seldom you get that many hundreds of your closest supporters,
Mhm.
friends, volunteers, staff
Mhm.
celebrating, raising money.
Mhm.
You're making a tragic misstep if you
Mhm.
don't document it with film.
I
And it
agree.
could be a iPhone. Sounds like I don't want. I'm not
Mhm.
the expert at all, but I know that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I'll tell you what we do. So my goal is
yeah,
to
talk
make
about it.
a reel of every event that we attend.
Cool.
So my bid assistants have a shot list. So
Mm,
if the money, and sometimes I'll pay my photographer to come, like if I want something for my purposes, or the
yeah.
nonprofit will pay him and then he does the interviews and it's a feature for them. Right.
Mhm.
So there's like two different types of videos. But if he's not there, we have a shot list. And it's just like, the way you walk in, the silent auction, the food, the people, the photo booth. So we're just accumulating a bunch of clips of the night. And
Yes.
then the next day, we have a shared drive where we all dump everything in. And then the next day, or whenever I get to it, I just pull a few of those clips. I find a trending audio and I say, like, Junior League of Charleston, it was a blast. The reel is like 15 seconds.
Come on.
So
Love
if
that.
we can do that while we're working, it's not that hard. But also, what's the beauty as the nonprofit? If you have someone who does that, people share that. Like, I posted on my page because I get 20 shares from attendees of the event, from nonprofit organizers. So
Yeah,
post it, tag who you can, and then people might see themselves in that. They share it, and it's also a growth tactic for you.
I think it's massive. Back to the point that we were making about how there's probably someone in your purview, there's probably someone in your network that does that. You have an
Yep.
AV team that's there. They know someone. That's a service that can be underwritten, that can be, given.
I'll tell you, I have a lot of conversations about influencer marketing, and
Okay,
it,
cool. Yeah,
it might just because I'm friends with a lot of influencers.
yeah.
So I don't think I'm going rogue here.
No,
I
do
think
it.
sometimes nonprofits are like, if I talk to an influencer, he or she will post about it and we'll get a bunch of tickets purchased. I don't think it works that way. But
Yeah,
what if, Trevor, you got me thinking,
yeah.
you approached an influencer who's a pro at content marketing and you said, hey, why don't you and your husband or whomever come to our events and just make a reel of it? And our gift to you is, like, you get to come. I guarantee, I know so many people who would say yes to that. So the only cost of you is those extra 2 seats. And they know that they are charged with making a great sizzle reel. Like, it would be fantastic.
We've got some realtors in my town, for instance, that are just like crushing the content game from a
Mhm.
social perspective. And I
Right.
know it like ruffles the feathers of the older realtors that aren't doing the same
Hmm.
thing. Like,
Hmm.
they'll literally get leads on Instagram saying, "'Cause I saw your
Hmm.
reel." It's like, "'Cause that's where I
I
live."
love working with realtors. It
You
works.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so like, even like, once again, getting further outside the box, but not too far outside the box,
Mhm.
grab that dynamic, like you said, couple in your town, in Charleston
Mhm.
or wherever you are, that,
Mhm.
and it's pretty evident if you pay attention, who's
Right.
rocking, right? And
Right.
then get them involved. And then, of course, you have I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, you have your
Mhm.
organization, your mission. You just pitch them the work that you're doing. They go, why would they say no if they have that
Right,
night?
and you flatter him for you're doing great content, like, I don't know if you align with our mission, but we would love to have you at our gala. If and all we ask for you simply is that you could, document the night for us because we can't afford the
Wow.
photographer for $1,000, They would be honored.
That was an earth-shaking idea that we just came up with.
I know.
That was really good. I had one other
Look
one I
how
wanted.
good we are together.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's really, really good though, Erin. Seriously,
Yeah.
that was great. One other idea that I had, and have you ever, I mean, I know you work with different software companies, and we're always like, hey, you need software to get the message out,
Mhm.
tickets, items, the whole
Mhm.
nine, obviously, donations, the layers and upon
Yeah.
layers. Why? Have you ever, like, and folks text, hey, get your tickets. Hey,
Yeah.
your check-ins happening at 6 p.m. All these things. Do you ever nudge nonprofits to embed a video in that text messaging? Or, I mean, I've never even heard of an event
I
or
have not. I mean, I don't know that I've seen that. Is that I'm sure it's possible. I've
I
seen it
think
with,
it's a good
like,
idea. Yeah.
stores and stuff, but,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, hey, this is the
mhm.
fun that we had last year. Buy your tickets. Here's a video. I was like, throw that
Yeah,
in there. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I think that's something that should
And
be
think about as donors age. I mean, my children don't watch TV. All they do is
happening.
TikTok. All they do is YouTube.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if we're not starting to make that shift now to
Yeah.
create messaging that appeals to that younger donor base, like, we're in trouble.
You're not growing.
And that's how do they communicate? What do they do on their phones? But obviously it's all just video.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all it is. So the nonprofits that can start to make that shift now and start figuring out how to create that messaging and that content that will reach those people, that's how you're going to bring in your new base.
I'm coming back to that where we're talking about, like, local influencers
Hmm.
that you don't have to pay, that don't break the bank.
Hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb. Those local influencers are probably not over 50. I think the demo, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
so then there's
Hmm.
another way that you can get in front of a younger demo. I don't think,
Hmm.
and you're not wrong. You're not missing the eight ball if you're not constantly, growing that reach and
Hmm.
realizing that, your donors aren't going to age out, but you want them to age in
Right.
too. You know what I'm saying? So I love that, man. I
Hmm.
love that idea.
Hmm.
Yeah. You should do a post about that.
I'm good. Yeah. That's my next email marketing.
That's a really good idea. Okay, yeah, you gotta link us though. You gotta give us some,
I'll tag you.
you gotta give us some credit or whatever. No, that was
Right now,
really, really,
next blog post. We'll
really,
do that.
really good. Hey, I mentioned I wanted to get everybody out of here in under a half hour. I hope that's okay with you. I think we covered some really good stuff.
We did. It's always fun with you.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming, and do me a favor, let folks know where to find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so if you go to giving for the number 4, givingforgoodevents.com, at
Yeah.
the top, I have a free, it's like the charity auction social media playbook. It's a free download for
Oh,
you
cool.
of
Yeah.
just ideas of like types of content that you can capture and post surrounding your events. So go ahead and grab that, my gift to you.
Far out. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, and then engage with Erin on LinkedIn as well, because she says she's a newbie, whatever.
I need more
Probably
friends.
you'll be taking over LinkedIn here pretty soon. Well, they're
Right.
connections though, Erin. No, I'm joking.
I see. I don't,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I did a bad job of promoting ourselves. I don't do that very often. So anyway, hey, we're HJ Fundraising. Do me a favor. Go. Yeah. Thank you so much. And if you
I
can
like,
throw up,
yeah, your supers. That's fancy, guys. I
yeah,
like
y'all
that.
can throw up. Tell folks where they can find us. HGAfundraising.com. We putting out great content. Having folks like Erin on the podcast. We have a weekly webinar series where we just talk fundraising, free coaching. Of course, we have the most profitable auction items in the space, but it really, really easy to reach us. And then you can just email me, Trevor@hgafundraising.com, about anything fundraising. We are beyond happy to help, no matter what. And I hope folks got a lot of value out of this, and we'll
So
continue to
too.
do so because this will be on all channels. Yeah.
All right, Trevor. Always fun. Thank you to your team behind the scenes too. This was cool.
Thanks, Erin. Let's do it again. Really, really fun. You got to do it too. Yeah, yeah. So we'll
Yeah,
be
I
on
got to figure
yours.
out how to do it first.
We'll be on yours. All right. Hey, take care, everybody.